episode of Pint Time with Backpacker Mike. I normally have music, but I am in the middle of watching my favorite college football team, and that is the Miami Hurricanes playing the Louisville Cardinals. So I'm going to keep that on because it is a nail biter so far, 45-38. Anyway, this show is about it's Pint Time, right? So it's about some great craft beers and travel. I'm just getting back into YouTube. I've been doing Facebook and Instagram for a while. I'm bailing out on Instagram and coming back to YouTube because I feel like YouTube is the better place for my type of content. So today is episode 238. I've been doing this show for a very long time. Episode 238. And it is some interesting Halloween facts. So it's about craft beer and travel. And someone may say, well, what does Halloween facts have to do with travel? Well, the thing is that a lot of these traditions and things that we do, especially here in the United States, have come from outside of the United States or were brought here by immigrants. So it's really kind of cool to see. And I'm trying to transform the set just a little bit. I usually do around the holidays. And so I put a little thing up here, but I realize it's not coming out so well on there. But anyway, so I would be dressing up for Halloween like I normally do, and probably Christmas as well, like I normally do. So anyway, let me go over the beers that I have to try for you guys today. I've got Smutty Nose Brewing Company's pumpkin ale made with real pumpkin as opposed to fake pumpkin. But real pumpkin, Smutty Nose. This comes in at, I believe, 5.9%, 5.9% on the Richter scale. I've had some Smutty Nose brews on the show before, and it's been pretty good. So we're going to get into that. And then the other beer that I have to try for you guys is by UFO Beer Company. And this is Journey to Planet Pumpkin. Journey to Planet Pumpkin. It's a seasonally spiced and brewed with real pumpkin puree. Love the little artwork on there, especially Planet Pumpkin, right? To look like Saturn. And there you go, UFO Beer Company. So I'm going to get into those two real quick, and I think I would do the Smutty Nose first. Usually when people are on, and I know that they're on, I have you guys select the beer. So that's what I normally do over on Facebook. I have everyone select which beer they would like me to try first. So I am going to do this Smutty Nose, and then I'm going to get into episode 238, some interesting Halloween facts you might not know about. So again, if you're new to the show, this is Pint Time with Backpacker Mike, and I try some amazing craft beers, sometimes food reviews as well, and I talk about travel. I've traveled the world. I traveled the world for over 3 years out of my backpack. Literally went around the world, 25, 26 countries, something like that, and really loved it. So here we go. I'm going to give this Smutty Nose Pumpkin Ale a try. Hey, guys, thanks for jumping on. I appreciate it. Hello, yo, hi. All right, let's get into this Smutty Nose. As always, cheers, bro, sláinte, and skål for my Nordic friends. You know who you are. It's a really good pumpkin ale. It's got a nice pumpkin flavor, nice pumpkin spice to it. Has a little bit of bitterness in the back of the palate there that kind of gives you that kind of hoppy bitterness. But it is still really good. So since we're going into the Halloween season here, I have some poison beakers that I'm going to be pouring this beer into to try for you guys. So I'm going to do a hard pour real quick, and then we'll give it a score. Let's just see if it changes the complexity any at all. I feel like I'm doing science here. Yeah, so the hard pour does change the complexity a little bit. It makes it a little bit more bitter with the hops that are in it. However, it's still really good either way. I'm going to score Smutty Nose. I said Muddy Nose. Smutty Nose. I'm going to score it an 8. So we're going to score that one an 8. All right, let's get on to the next one I'm going to do for you guys, and then we will get into some interesting Halloween facts. Some of them I bet, you guys probably didn't know about, but we will see. Because some of these I didn't know about either. All right, let's get into this UFO Beer Company. I'll get it right. UFO Beer Company, Journey to Planet Pumpkin. It's got a nice, again, nice pumpkin flavor on the nose, or pumpkin smell. Yeah, I like that one a lot better. It's got a little bit more sweetness to it. Still has a little bit of bitterness on the back half of it. That's making my mouth water right now. But let's do a hard pour on this one. See if this changes anything for you guys. Look at that. They look almost the same. Nice little amber color there. Golden color, I should say. That's really good too. It kind of takes the bitterness out of it when you do the hard pour. This is really good. I actually like this one a little bit better. I'm going to go to 8.5. 8.5 on the UFO. 8.5 on the UFO. And I think I'm just going to pour the rest of that one right on into the beaker here. Why not? And just drink it right out of the beaker. All right, let's get into the episode here. Anybody who's still on, you got any questions about anything? Any comments? Questions, concerns? Do you travel the world? Have you traveled the world? Are you a backpacker? Are you looking to travel the world? Come on, man, talk to me. As we say here in the South, in the United States, talk to me here. Talk to me. All right, let's get into this episode here. Interesting facts. Now, I have a bunch of facts for you guys, so let's get into them. Keep evil spirits away with salt. That's right. Salt acts as a protective shield against evil spirits and malevolent entities. And it has been a practice dating back to ancient times. So, if you've ever watched a movie, a scary movie about possession and things like that, more often than not, they're dropping salt, right? Somewhere. All right, number 2 on the list is Jason Voorhees. Remember him from the famous movie Halloween? He remains at the bottom of a lake in Minnesota. That's right. In the form of a statue, however, diver Doug Klein constructed the statue made from plywood, bubble wrap, and foam, and had it placed 120 feet down in a water-filled mining pit known as Louise. And it's nearby Crosby, Minnesota. It's also only able to be seen by experienced divers because it is 120 feet down. So if you're not that experienced of a diver, probably not a good idea to go see it. The next one on the list is there's a city in South Carolina that renames itself on Halloween. It renames itself Halloween, the city of Halloween. According to the state newspaper in Columbia, South Carolina, back in 2022, a city in Horry County called Conway announced that they would change their name to Halloween during the month of October. It was basically done to boost tourism because, you can go to the city of Halloween or, whatever. They still do it today, and the festivities are getting bigger and better and more elaborate and more artsy and more costumes and things like that. So if you ever find yourself somewhere around Columbia, South Carolina, hunt down Halloween, North Carolina. Or South Carolina, sorry. All right, the next one on the list is 1 in 5 adults pretend to not be at home during Halloween. I am guilty of this occasionally, not very often, but however, I am guilty of this. A 2021 YouGov poll found that 1 in 5 adults keep the porch lights off and pretend not to be at home. Since this poll, another one was done in 2023, and it said the number has increased since then. So more often than not, you're just kind of playing like you're not at home. Even, the tradition here in the United States, if you're in the United States, you know what I'm talking about. If you're outside the United States, you might not. So therefore, in the United States, we leave a porch light on if we're willing to give out candy for Halloween. If we're going to do a Halloween thing, we leave a porch light on or some light on outside. If the house is dark, that means don't even go up and knock on the door because they're not expecting to give out candy So there you go. The next one on the list is trick or treat was actually not the original phrase that children said when they would go out on Halloween. According to the Library of Congress and many historians, the original saying was bell snicky or bell snickling. Bell snickling. It's a German American phrase that was basically used around Christmas time, actually, and the tradition was where kids would dress up in costumes, and they went around to their neighbors' houses to see if the neighbors could guess who they were. And you guessed it, if the neighbors guessed incorrectly, then the kids got treats and snacks and so forth. So that just sort of transitioned into the Halloween trick-or-treat thing. All right, the next thing on the list is there's a reason that black and orange are the colors for Halloween. This is something I didn't know, but the Library of Congress reports that the colors orange and black date back to the Celtic festivals or the Celtic festival of Samhain. Samhain, which is a Gaelic festival signifying the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter. Black represents the death of summer, while the orange represents the life of the fall harvest. So there you have it. That's pretty interesting in it, and it makes total sense. Makes total sense. All right. That's crazy. I'm watching my Miami Hurricanes play, so. All right, let's see. The next one on the list is every 19 years there's a full moon on Halloween. And nothing makes Halloween even more creepy than a full moon, right? Every 19 years. So you might see, who knows, 3, 4, maybe 5 if you're lucky, in a lifetime, a full moon on Halloween. All right, the next one. Halloween dates back to over 2,000 years. It's actually older than Christianity. And it all started as a Celtic festival called Samhain, which means summer's end. It was held in the beginning of November, actually, and it represented the last day of the fall harvest and spirits crossing over. Since they believed that the veil between the living and the spirit world grew thinnest at that time, people used to ward off ghosts by lighting sacrificial bonfires and wearing costumes to trick the spirits. So there you go. That's where Halloween originated from. All right, the next one. Trick or treating has existed since medieval times. Trick-or-treating has existed since medieval times. It was known as guising in Scotland and Ireland, in Scotland. Young people dressed up in costumes and went door to door looking for food or money in exchange for performing songs, poems, and other tricks. Today, the tradition has morphed into children getting dressed up and asking for candy. That's right. Back then, it was more of like a thing for, to help families out type of thing, I assume. Some Halloween rituals were for finding a husband. Now, I've read about some of these before. Some of these I've read about that I'm going to mention to you. But during the 18th century, single ladies devised Halloween traditions that were supposed to help them find a romantic match. According to history, women used to throw apple peels over their shoulder, hoping to see their future husband's initials in the peelings when they hit the ground. Interesting. Apples had a huge thing to do with Halloween, too, like even with bobbing with apples, like I'm going to talk about next. When bobbing for apples at parties, the winner would supposedly marry first. A spooky ritual that they used to stand in a dark room holding a candle in front of a mirror to look for their future husband's face to appear in the glass. Creepy. Talk about Bloody Mary very often. All right, number 11 on the list is immigrants helped popularize the holiday in the United States. That's right. If it wasn't for immigrants, Halloween probably wouldn't be what it was back then. But when the Irish fled the potato famine in the 1840s, they brought their Halloween traditions with them. It spread across the country until it reached its mischievous all-time high in the 1920s. Some believe that the community-based trick-or-treating became popular in the 1930s as a way to control the many pranksters that were out there doing pranks during Halloween. Now, here in the United States, we do like community-based Halloween trick-or-treating. Some places do trick-or-treating days before Halloween. Some people do it on Halloween. Some communities do it even after Halloween sometimes. It just depends. So there you go. But apparently that came about when everyone was being too mischievous and playing too many jokes. This one was interesting, which I didn't even think of this, but sugar rationing during World War II paused trick-or-treating for a while. With a shortage of sugar, trick-or-treating wasn't as big during World War II because a lot of the candy companies couldn't make that much candy because their sugar rations were really low. After rationing ended, however, Halloween was back in full force, and candy companies created this huge marketing and advertising campaigns to cash in on the ritual and make sure kids were wanting their candies and their empty pillowcases for Halloween. So there you go. Halloween is the second largest commercial holiday here in the United States. That's right. It's right behind Christmas. Right behind Christmas. So anyway, according to the National Retail Federation, it said that consumers spend a record $12.2 billion with a B, $12.2 billion, exceeding the record breaking $10.6 billion of 2022. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Americans spend the most on candy, decorations, and costumes, and these numbers kind of blew me away too. But the National Retail Federation here in the United States broke down the spending for Halloween, and the average American spends an average of $108 per person on candy, decorations, and costumes, with $4.1 billion on costumes, $3.6 billion on candy, $3.9 billion on decorations, and $500 million on greeting cards for Halloween. That's kind of crazy. All right, I got some more for you guys, and I'm going to try to get through them real quick here for you. All right, here, the Irish also brought the jack-o'-lantern to the United States. An Irish man named Stingy Jack tricked the devil. I've talked about this before on a show. He basically conjured him up a tree, and then he put like some sort of symbol under the tree where the devil couldn't climb down the tree, and he tricked the devil basically. But he tricked the devil, and therefore he was not allowed into heaven or hell. So he was forced to roam the earth in darkness, of which he made a lantern made out of a turnip, which was the original lantern. It was either a turnip or a potato or something like that. And hence the name Jack-o'-lantern, because his name was Jack. All right, the pumpkin jack-o'-lantern basically started in the United States. So the original jack-o'-lantern, as I said, was a turnip or a potato, and I believe there was one other thing they might have used. But here in the United States, we popularized the pumpkin. And so while the jack-o'-lantern started in Ireland, used turnips, like I said before, it wasn't until it got popular here in the United States that kids and parents started using pumpkins, and so that's where pumpkins came in. There's a traditional Irish Halloween bread in Ireland that you can have. It's called bromback, or just brock. It's a sweet loaf with golden or dark raisins, and a small ring or toy is hidden inside the cake. Tradition dictates that the person who finds the item will come into good fortune in the year to come. So there you go. Illinois produces more than twice as many pumpkins as any other state in the United States. Imagine that. They have more than 17,600 acres devoted to pumpkin and gourd growing in Illinois. These farms grow about 37,500 pounds per acre and over 630 million pounds of pumpkins each year. That's mind-blowing. Candy corn was originally called chicken feed. I'm not a big, huge fan of candy corn, and I don't know a lot of people who are fans of candy corn, but either way, the Goerlitz family, Goerlitz Confectionery Company, originally sold the treat in boxes with a rooster on the front to appeal to America's agricultural roots. The sugary recipe has gone largely unchanged since the 1880s. And also, if you stack them to the inside, it's meant to look like a cob of corn on the outside. If you stack them all like in a circle, it will look like a cob of corn. The history of the Michael Myers mask. Now, that's another one, that has some interesting history. Just in case you don't know, the famous horror movie, Halloween, had a very small budget to produce the film in 1978. Producer and designer Tommy Lee Wallace picked up two masks from a Hollywood Boulevard magic shop. A clown mask and a William Shatner mask as Captain Kirk. They tried those masks out and they went with Captain Kirk mask of William Shatner. And they spray painted it white, cut the eye holes bigger, and the rest is history for Halloween. The fastest pumpkin carving ever took, the fastest carved pumpkin only took 16.47 seconds. Stephen Clark of New York holds the Guinness Book of World Record distinction in 2013, and nobody's beat him since. I couldn't imagine carving a pumpkin in 16.47 seconds. That's crazy. All right, the next one on the list is New York City throws the biggest Halloween parade in the United States. On average, the event, there's more than 2 million people that come to the event, and there's over 70,000 participants that participate in the event, and through Greenwich Village. It was all started by Greenwich Village resident and puppeteer Ralph Lee, who just wanted to have a fun walk, from the house, to go from house to house with his kids and his friends during Halloween. And when a local theater heard of it, they joined in and expanded the event. So now it's become huge there in New York. And they do all kinds of cool stuff and all kinds of, entertainment and all that type of stuff. Costumes and everything. Also, if you guys remember Harry Houdini, he was a big, famous magician, illusionist, and entertainer way back in the 1920s, late 1800s, early 1900s. He's the guy who would take a cannonball to the stomach, get punched in the stomach, all that type of stuff. Anyway, he actually died on Halloween in 1926, 1 year before not even a year, like 4 months before my dad was born. My dad was born in February of 1927. Anyway, he died from peritonitis caused by a ruptured appendix. The stories and mysteries behind his death range from being poisoned by spiritualists who thought he was the devil and getting punched by a student with his permission that ruptured his appendix, which is what I heard. I heard he got punched in the stomach. And so therefore, that's one of the things that I heard, and then it ruptured his appendix and he died. The last one is Keene, New Hampshire, holds the record for the most jack-o'-lanterns on display, and this is mind-blowing. In October of 2013, they broke the world record with 30,581 lit pumpkins on display around town. That is crazy. 30,581 lit pumpkins. Wow. Mind-blowing. All right, so there you have it. Episode 238. Some interesting Halloween facts here on Pint Time. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Try to do about 30 minutes, but obviously if we get more people on that hang out for a while and want to chit-chat, then we can stay on a little bit longer. But anyway, we kind of blew through that whole thing there, and it is time to get on to Facebook here soon. So if you guys aren't following me on Facebook, please give me a follow on Facebook. I will see you guys next Saturday on Pint Time with Backpacker Mike, and I might be dressed up in Halloween garb. Anyway, as always, peace, love, and let's continue to experience this beautiful world together. And I'll see you guys next time on Pint Time with Backpacker Mike. Peace.